Hello friends, my name is Omkar and today we are going to see network firewalls architect in 15 minutes. So every single second, automated bots, malware and threat actors are scanning the internet looking for open doors into network. If you plug a server directly into open web without protection, it will compromise it within the minute. To survive network need a bouncer, they need checkpoint, they need firewall. But what is firewall exactly? It's not a single wall. In a modern network security, it's a complex series of checkpoints that analyze, filter, and route traffic based on the strict set of rules. Today we are going to break down exactly how firewall works, starting with the easiest and earliest packet filters, moving into stateful inspection, and finally exploring next-gen firewalls and network segmentation zones like DMZ. So let's see what is firewall. A network security device that monitors incoming and outgoing traffic, decides whether to allow or block traffic based on defined set of security rules, establish a barrier between secured internal network and untrusted external network. As you can see in this image, this is the private network, and this internet is the external network, and this firewall stand between the private network and the internet, from where attackers continuously tries to attack this internal network or the private network, but firewall act as a wall between those attackers. Going further, let's just understand generation 2 versus generation 1 firewalls, which we also call stateful firewalls and stateless firewalls. The first generation of firewalls were the stateless packet filters. Think of it like a bouncer checking IDs based on every simple list. It looks at the packet source IP address, destination IP, and the port number. If rule says block all traffic on port 23 telnet, the packet is dropped. If the problem in the stateless firewall have no memory, they don't remember a packet is part of ongoing conversation, attackers quickly learn to snoop IP addresses or sneak malicious data through open ports because the firewall wasn't looking at the context. That brings us to generation 2 stateful inspection. A stateful firewall remembers the state of the connection. If you inside the network request a web page, the firewall records that outbound request in its state table. When web server replies, the firewall checks the stable state table, says, we are expecting this reply and lets it in. But if random packet tries to enter from outside without being requested first, it get blocked automatically, and this dynamic filtering changed network security forever. You can see this clear difference between the stateful firewalls and stateless firewalls. Then going further, we need to understand what is network zones and architecture. Because relying on just one firewall at the edge on your network is like having a lock on your front door but leaving all inside rooms wide open. Once attacker breaches the perimeter, they have free reign. This is where network segmentation and security zones come into the play. In enterprise environment, we divided the network into zones. The untrusted zone, this is the public internet, it's completely hostile. The trusted zone, it is your internal network, your employee laptops, internal databases, and private files live here. The DMZ, demilitarized zone, this is a middle ground. Let's say your company hosts a public website. You want customers on the internet to access your web server, but you don't want them anywhere near your internal employee database. So you placed the web server in the DMZ. The firewall rules dedicate that public internet can only talk to the DMZ. If that web server is compromised, the attacker still trapped. The firewall explicitly block the initiating connection into the trusted zone. The segmentation contains the blast radius of the attack. All it means is whenever this attacker tries to attack our internal trusted network through any DMZ by compromising this DMZ, by hacking those web servers or the email servers or the DNS servers using various techniques, firewall just disconnect those internal trusted network zones from this DMZ and isolate those attackers in these demilitarized zones, which are totally public facing, so that this internal trusted network will always remain secured. Going further, let's understand what is proxy firewalls. The proxy firewalls act as an intermediary between the users and the internet. Instead of letting packet flow through the proxy rebuilds the connection on behalf of user, protects the network identity and provides deep application level filtering such as URL filtering, HTTP headers inspection, malware scanning, deep packet inspection. So all this is done by this proxy gateway. Then we have next generation firewalls. Stateful firewalls and the zones are great, but they have fatal flaw. They look at the envelope, the IP and the port. If attacker hides malware inside the normal looking HTTP web request on port 443, the traditional firewall will let it right through because port 443 is allowed. Enter the next gen firewalls or the NGFW. Next generation firewalls don't just look at the envelope, but they open the box using the deep packet inspection. They analyze the actual payload of the data. Furthermore, they are application aware. An old firewall just sees traffic on port 80. In next generation firewall sees that traffic is especially a Facebook file transfer or the Skype call and lets you create rules based on that app itself. Regardless of the port, add in the built-in intrusion prevention systems that match traffic against known malware signatures and you have highly intelligent security app plans. So basically, next generation firewalls are the combined traditional firewall capabilities with advanced filtering, which we have seen in the proxy firewalls. It allows deep packet inspection, which looks at the payload, not just a header of any website. Application awareness, it can block specific applications such as a BitTorrent or the TikTok or the WhatsApp, regardless of what port they are tried to use in the intrusion. Prevention system actively blocks known malware signature in the known real time. Then we have zero trust in the picture. What zero trust means? Never trust, always verify. Traditional firewalls assume internal traffic is safe, which we have seen in the internal zone or the trusted zone, which we call a safer because we think the traffic is flowing internally and it is safe. No external factor affecting that factor. But in zero trust, we assume the network is already compromised, required strict identity verification and the micro-segmentation for every person and the device trying to access resources regardless whether they are inside or the outside of the network perimeter. And this is the future of the network security. At the end, we can conclude firewalls evolved from the simple port blockers to the intelligent traffic analyzers. Architecture and the segmentations are just important as the hardware itself. A firewall is only as effective as the rules configured by the administrator. That's it for today, guys. We have understood what is the firewall, how it works, what are the types of the firewalls, and how the future is going to be.